wow. That was literally pure cinema. I was feeling all of the feels from years and years and years of watching Demon Slayer, literally by the opening scene. And I was not prepared for what was to come for the rest of that movie. I used to go to the cinema quite a bit in the past, but over the past few years, I've just stopped going. It's just, well, with the exception of Demon Slayer, I've gone to see that every single year. But just other movies, it's overpriced. Cinemas these days are just, you pay a ridiculous amount of money when you just wait until it comes out on streaming. And two, it's just always so loud in a cinema. There's always someone being very disruptive. I mean, I got a story where I went to go see The Joker, literally The Joker. It's quite an adult film, and there was a family sitting behind me and their baby just started crying. And I was like full crying in the cinema. And I think at that point I was like, oh, I really don't want to go to cinemas anymore. So I don't really go anymore. But let me tell you, when I was watching this movie, the whole cinema, and it was packed. I went and saw it at IMAX because I obviously wanted to get the full experience. And the cinema was absolutely packed, but it was dead silent. There was just no one saying anything. Obviously, like a few laughs here and there. The movie actually had quite a few just quiet bits where there was just not a lot of sound going on. And I was even scared crunching on my popcorn. Like, I was sitting there with my popcorn, like dead silent cinema, just I actually just did not want to keep eating my popcorn just because it was so silent and I didn't want to disturb anyone. But it just showed how serious everyone in that cinema was watching that movie. As soon as I finished it, I wanted to see it again. I couldn't stop thinking about it. The next day I was like, I need to see this movie again. When can I go? And so I went a few days afterwards just to go see it. Just a heads up, there will be spoilers in this, of course. Like, it's a bit of an in-depth review for me. So there will be spoilers, which means if you haven't gone and watched it yet, why have you not watched it yet? Go and watch it. But once you do, you can come back and watch this review. As I was saying, the opening was just so captivating, and I think because I watched all of the Hashira training arc season just before I went and saw the movie, I was kind of ready to go from where it left off when they first started falling into the Infinity Castle. So I was ready to go. And when they were all falling into the castle and Aimer's music was playing, that opening song just paired perfectly with everything that was about to come. And I actually feel like Aimer's song I liked a bit better, to be honest. And I don't think I'd think that because I love anything that Lisa sings. Like, she is amazing with anything. I think her song towards the end with Akaza and, you know, ending off the movie was really, really great and it paired really, really well. But Aimer's song, it just hit different in that start. It was just like, it just hit different. I was not expecting within the first 20 minutes of the movie that fight would go down between Doma and Shinobu. Like, that was a bit of a shock. And when Shinobu entered Doma's castle, I knew that she wasn't going to make it out of there. Doma is upper rank number 2. There's no way that Shinobu is the weakest out of the Hashiras. There was just no way that she was going to make it out of there alive. I reckon Doma would have to be my favorite upper rank. There's just like, his costume design is just so cool, and his eyes just make him look like the prettiest little demon. And also his voice, I watch it in Japanese and subbed. His Japanese voice actor is, I don't know how they do it. They are the most talented people to be able to voice that sort of, like, he just gets it perfectly. It just matches perfectly to Doma's character. He would have to be my favorite upper rank. I hate the fact that he killed Shinobu, but he is a cool character. Also, the reason why he's going around killing humans because of his past when he was like a little kid, and he had everyone worshipping him like a god, and he looked at these people being like, they are trying to find hope in a little kid, just a little kid, and they're suffering so much that now he just wants to put humans out of their misery. I just feel like that's such a, I don't know, an interesting backstory to have and an interesting way to get to the point where he is now. It's not like he's gone through a really sad, well, from what I've seen so far, he hasn't gone through like a really devastating backstory like some of the other upper ranks. He sees that he's killing humans as a good thing. So it is interesting his perspective on it all. And yeah, I think that's just why I like him as a whole, but I think it's mostly because of his character design. But that moment when Shinobu had just been slashed by Doma and there's literally no hope for her, her lungs have been punctured, she could barely even breathe. She's just like, she's about to give up, and she's going on about how she is so frustrated that she is the weakest of the Hashiras. She's the smallest out of all of them. She's even smaller than her sister, who is also very tiny. So she's just wishing that she could be stronger and that she could defeat this upper rank. And if she was taller or bigger or had a bigger sword, because her sword can't slash, she probably would have beat him. The moment though when her sister was like, get up, you know, you said that you were going to kill this demon. You said you were going to do it. You need to do it. And then she's like, she snaps out of it and she's like, yes, I need to do whatever I can to stop him. And then she uses like the dance of the centipede move. And that in itself was like, you're not weak, Shinobu. That just showed and showcased how strong she really is. She didn't defeat him in the end, but it really did show that she earned her place as a Hashira. She got there out of her own strength, and that doesn't make her weak. That makes her pretty powerful. She was never going to defeat Doma. He is freaking strong, but she gave it her all. She really gave it her all in that moment. That was really sad when Doma just had the upper hand, unfortunately. And then her like revelation of the fact that she is just constantly angry. This demon, you know, demons have killed her whole family. They killed her parents. They killed her sister. Now they're coming after everyone that she loves, and she's killed. These demons have killed every single person that she knows today, all of their family members. And so she's angry, and it's so sad because when you think about the fact that Shinobu is 19 years old, she's still a teenager, and she's taken on all of this anger and all of this pain, and she can't live a normal life. She can't just go out and live a normal life because she's just dealing with so much anger. And now she's going to die never having, you know, like felt the continuous happiness and to be with Giyu. That would, yeah. They were going to be such a cute couple, which is really sad. But she'll never know that, and she'll never have that future anymore, which is devastating. And that made me cry. And then when Kanao came in and saw her just get fully consumed by Doma, and she was just like beside herself. And then the hand signals that Shinobu did, I don't know what they mean, and please don't spoil that for me because I want to find out. I haven't read the manga, and this is one that I won't read the manga until I've finished it, because I started watching with the anime and I want to have no spoilers with the rest of the anime. But yeah, I'm interested to know what those hand signals mean. And I do know though that Inosuke and Kanao are going to fight Doma together, which, how? I mean, I'm keen for Inosuke to have his moment. That is going to be really cool. But I don't know how they're going to defeat him. I'm really curious to know, but until the next movie. Then the scene where the crow was telling everyone about Shinobu's death, and it's Tanjiro and Giyu, they're running. The crow tells them Shinobu is now dead. She's been killed. And it was just silent. It just went fully silent, and all you could hear was their footsteps. It was like the moment of realization sinking in that Shinobu is now gone. And especially I feel even sadder for Giyu, because now they can't have their future together. Next is a fight between Zenitsu and his brother Kaigaku, and I think this is a fight that I had been anticipating the most, just because the whole time Zenitsu has been this full-on coward, scaredy cat. He's just been insecure about anything, but he'd been showing little glimpses of his strength, like when he was just fully asleep in the second season of the Entertainment District arc. But he took down, you know, this upper ranked demon with Inosuke. He was pretty strong, even though he was asleep. So he hadn't like unleashed his full potential yet. And then towards the end of the Hashira training arc, when he gets the letter about his granddad, it was kind of like he meant business. And I could see that in the trailer. So I was super, super hyped to see this fight. My God, when he used his 7th form attack, I was screaming internally. And just the fact that he made this new form himself shows how strong he really is. And the fact that he is definitely the successor of the Agatsuma clan, because that was insane. And even Kaigaku was like, what the hell? Where did this even come from? You're supposed to be like this cowardly little brother. you're not supposed to be this strong. So he was shocked as well. And that was very satisfying. I think that would probably be one of my favorite scenes of the whole movie. But putting aside his technique and the insane fighting scene, the emotional impact of that scene, it just like made my heart hurt. This whole time, Zenitsu has been saving up this 7th form so that he could fight alongside his brother. He's always looked up to his brother, and even the flashbacks of when Zenitsu was standing up for his brother, because like people were talking about him behind his back and kind of like shaming him and the family, and then Zenitsu comes in and gets beaten up, and then Kagaku, the asshole, comes in and is just belittling Zenitsu. He just wanted to have that connection with his brother so bad. I honestly just wanted to slap Kagaku square in the face for how much of an asshole he was being. Gramps took him in and made him a part of the family, trained him, wanted him to be one of his successors, and then he just throws it all back in his face by becoming a demon just to be more powerful. That made me really pissed. I think Zenitsu definitely found better brothers in Tanjiro and Inosuke. They're kind of like his new family, and now that Gramps is gone, it's his only family, but that will make such an impact on him. And it already did make such an impact on him being with Tanjiro and Inosuke. Zenitsu. And then they have the scene with Zenitsu passing out and seeing his grandpa out in the field, and he's not dying yet, so it's like in the limbo of he's about to die, but he's not going to die. And he sees his Gramps, and his grandpa finally says that he is his pride and joy. Zenitsu has been wanting him to be proud of him all this time, and he finally hears those words. I was crying. I was gone again. I was crying again at that point. That was, I think, I'm going to call it. That was probably the most emotional scene for me, I think. Obviously, there's the scenes with Akaza at the end, but that one really got me more. And maybe it's just because I've seen Zenitsu grow and develop this whole time from where he was from episode, whatever episode he was introduced. I forgot now. But from the moment he was introduced as to how he was back then and to where he developed today, he's grown so much. And I think that's why it hit me a bit more than the Akaza's whole backstory. I think because of maybe just Zenitsu's sake, I was really wishing that Kagaku would come to some kind of realization about how awful of a person he is and the things that he's done to lead him up to this point, and how much Zenitsu actually cares about him when he was dying. I wish that there was a bit more of that, just to, I don't know, maybe it just felt unsatisfying that they couldn't have that discussion, but it felt like it was on purpose because this was Zenitsu's moment. It wasn't his moment. But yeah, I just wish that they could have had some kind of chat or some kind of like realization together. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I bet Kagaku's been awful from the start, so maybe that would have just been out of character. One thing I actually really didn't like though about the fight is that I feel like it wasn't long enough. It felt just a little too short. They kind of were reintroduced again. They had a little scuffle, and then Zenitsu used his 7th form, and then the battle was kind of over. And obviously there was the parts with his Gramps, but I feel like it should have been longer. It was Zenitsu's big moment, his big moment of fighting in upper rank, and it was just a little too short. I don't know how they could have made it longer. Obviously Zenitsu was already kind of at his end with his strength, and so it was like his last ditch effort. Like he had to use this power to defeat his brother. So I get it. I don't know, maybe it's just because I was anticipating it for so long. And one thing that is just really ridiculous is that the crows didn't go and tell everyone that Zenitsu has literally killed an upper rank demon. Like, what? He was just like, it never happened. They kind of downplayed this whole fight, and they even mentioned like, oh yeah, it was lucky that Kagaku wasn't as strong as he could have been. Like, he's not as experienced. He'd just become an upper ranked demon, so he wasn't quite there yet. And if he was stronger, then he would have defeated Zenitsu. And I understand they need to do that because upper ranked demons are really strong, so it would have kind of like, the power levels would have been a bit out of whack. But I don't know, they could have made it a bit more of a thing, the fact that Zenitsu, I mean, Kaigoku was also pretty strong. The fact that he made it as an upper rank demon means that he was very, very strong and powerful. But just no celebration, no nothing. And I think that would have given Tanjiro and Inosuke a bit of a boost. Like, that would have been a bit of a fire, and Inosuke would have been pissed off because he would have been like, how come I haven't defeated an upper rank demon yet? I haven't even encountered one yet, but Zenitsu has defeated one. And then Tanjiro just would have been so happy and excited that he would have like given him a boost in his battle. And I would have loved to see their reactions in that moment to finding out that Zenitsu defeated an upper rank, because that would have made it so much better, which it just sucks. I don't know why they did that. It was actually a great moment though, when Kaigoku was going on at Zenitsu, like, yes, Zenitsu is falling in the castle, he's going to die as well. And then Yashiro came in and then gave him like a stern talking to about what he said, and just the fact that he's alone. And that was pretty satisfying. And it was funny afterwards when he was just like yelling at Zenitsu, and then the Demon Slayer Corps, the other members were just like, you need to stop doing that or else you're going to hurt his soul and he's not going to want to come back. And that was like a funny interaction between the two. I really enjoyed those scenes actually, where the Demon Slayer Corps, they told the Hashiras to just continue on. They've got like bigger battles to fight, and that they would hold up all the other demons and fight them. It just shows how much the training had prepared them for this moment. Like, they went through such grueling training, and a lot of them were quite like scared. Like, they were very scared, but a lot is at stake in the Infinity Castle and in this battle, so they really stepped up. So I really enjoyed those moments, seeing how far that they had come as well. And that scene where Obanai protects Mitsuri and like tells everyone like no one can harm Mitsuri, oh, that was so cute. And then like Mitsuri is all like excited afterwards, and she's finally met her man, which is really cute. That's why she came Hashira, and I think that she's met him in Obanai. I think that Obanai is actually a really underrated character, an underrated Hashira. He seems really strong, but also has a really good heart. I mean, he really cares for Mitsuri. I haven't seen enough of him. I'm excited to see his next battle and to see him fight, because I just feel like we have not seen enough of him, or much of him at all. Then there's the fight with Tanjiro, Giyu, and Akaza. And oh my god, when Akaza was transforming the landscape and like brought up these massive buildings with the waterfall, all these like different waterfalls, I actually get goosebumps thinking back to it, because the animation is just beautiful, like absolutely beautiful. They step up the animation every single time they make a new season and make a new movie, but they've really stepped it up this time. And it was just, even the directing, like the directing enhanced the animation and the visuals so much, where I felt so immersed into the Infinity Castle. I felt like I was just there. And it just is like a testament to how good the directing is and how just talented those animators are. It was great. The Infinity Castle is such a cool design as well. The fact that it's just continuously transforming, it just makes it feel like this endless maze, and like you're stuck in this never-ending nightmare, and it just reflects the demon layer so well, where it feels like hell. It feels like you are in hell, or the devil's layer or something like that. So that whole design is just really fitting. It's cool. When Giyu formed his mark though, it just really, really ramped up, and I thought that he was going to beat Akaza for one moment, because he was showing some power. I actually love Giyu. I think that he is such a great character, and as I mentioned, I watched all of the Hashira training arc again. So watching those scenes with Tanjiro just never giving up on breaking through to him, trying to understand him, and he was just constantly knocking at Giyu's door, and Giyu's like, oh my god, go away, get out of my personal space. That was hilarious. In the end, Tanjiro got through to him, and now Giyu has a soft spot for Tanjiro. Every single Hashira just has a soft spot for Tanjiro, except for Saname. And probably Obanai at this point. Yeah, no, Obanai, because Obanai is like, don't you ever talk to Mitsuri again. Those two don't like him, but the rest have like a soft spot for him. Even like Takedo, they have a funny relationship. Like, Takedo is harsh to everyone. Absolutely slanted on everyone. But then when Tanjiro comes, she's like, Tanjiro! It's great. Love that. And then when Giyu and Akaza were kind of running parallel, fighting each other, and Akaza was trying to get Giyu's name, and Giyu's like, I'm not going to tell you my name. And then he's just like, I hate talking. that was great. And then when Akaza like bashes him into one of the sides of the Infinity Castle, so he's like really badly injured, but then later on he reappears into the scene and he's like, I'm really angry because my back hurts so much, like you made my back hurt from that move. That was great. He's funny and like he's got like a really dry sense of humor, and I also have a dry sense of humor, so I find whatever he does really funny. So actually after I watched Infinity Castle movie, I like to take these quizzes. If you haven't seen like one of my quizzes on One Piece in the past, but I do like to take these quizzes, and I like to find out which character I am. And I've taken a few. I've taken like, which character are you in Demon Slayer? Which Hashira are you? I think I've taken another one, and every single time I've come out as being Giyu. So I don't know. He must be like, I must be a lot like him, or I must just find what he says like really relatable. Then there's a scene where Tanjiro goes into the transparent world. That was so cool. That even the lead up where he remembered everything from his past, so he was trying to figure out Akaza's, what his power really is and how he's able to predict so many different movements. And he thinks back to Inosuke, what Inosuke was telling him, and Inosuke has like that unique ability where he can just sense where someone is looking, or if they're looking at him or they're behind him or just wherever they are. And it kind of came down to their fighting power. And then he later on has the flashback with his dad, and his dad was able to just like cut that bear's head off so easily. That's because he entered the transparent world. And it's interesting where all of these things in his past and all these people in his past are just helping him become who he is today. Like without Inosuke, he wouldn't have been able to decipher like what Akaza's thing is with, you know, fighting power, and without his dad showing him what the transparent world, like what it looks like on the outside, he wouldn't have picked up those little things. Then Tanjiro goes and just cuts off Akaza's head when he's in that transparent world, and it was like, oh my god, I thought, wow, he is actually beaten upper rank 3 demon. That is crazy. That's how far Tanjiro has come out of all of his training. I couldn't believe it. But then, of course, that wasn't the end of it. Akaza kind of like, his head was starting to grow back, which is crazy because only Muzan is able to do that right now. And so he has like started to develop and become even stronger, that he can survive without a head. Scary to think about, actually. Then we go into Akaza's backstory, and I've seen a lot of people and in a lot of reviews that his whole backstory dragged on a little bit, and it was a bit too much away from the Infinity Castle and the action. And I understand to some extent, like we get into the Infinity Castle and it is just like battle after battle. It is just intense, that the pacing is so fast, and then we get up to this point and it just really slows down. But I really liked it. I actually didn't see any issues with the pacing. I thought it was a really nice break from just the constant action, constant battle, constant feeling like I was on edge. So I didn't really have an issue with it. I thought it was necessary. And I always like seeing the demons' backstory, because even though these demons kill countless numbers of people, some of them have some really, really sad backstories. Like Daki and Gyutaro, that's probably the saddest backstory that I had seen from any of the demons. So yeah, seeing their backstory, I find it more interesting because it kind of brings a little bit more complexity to the character itself. They're not just evil because they're evil. Like there's a reason why they have become the way that they have. And a lot of the demons actually aren't really even given a backstory, and that just flattens. I think it just makes it really like one-dimensional as a story. But poor Akaza, like that, when he was younger and his father was sick and he was doing everything that he can to keep his father alive, and then in the end when his father died and he had like nowhere to go, and then Kaizo and Koki kind of were there for him and became his family, and then they like had died. He finally found and saw a future for himself, which he would never have imagined before. Now he finally had a new family and a new purpose in life, and then that was just kind of taken away from him. And yeah, whoever poisoned them, I'm glad he got some revenge, but it was, killing 67 people, that would would have like also kind of messed him up. He was angry and he was sad. But yeah, it was a devastating background. And then when Muzan, it was actually a bit more devastating than some of how the other demons became a demon and got to where they were, just because of the fact that he was in such a rage-stricken stupor. And then Muzan kind of caught him at the absolute worst moment, and without even wanting to become a demon, he was kind of forced into doing it by Muzan. Like he didn't say, oh yes, like make me a demon, I want to become a demon. He was kind of just made one. And then when Koyuki grabbed his hand and he started to remember things from his past, even though he tried so hard to kind of shove them down, and when he remembered them, and even Tanjiro, what he was saying was reminding him of Kaiser, and he got so angry. But then when he remembered, he's like, I need to stop what I'm doing. And that moment where he sacrificed himself so that he wouldn't hurt anyone else, it really was, it was really sad. It was such an emotional scene. I think I had a bit of like a conflict within myself, because I was so angry at Akaza for what he did to Rengoku. It was so sad, and Akaza really got on my nerve just at how like arrogant he was and how much he just wanted power, and he was really getting on my nerves. And then when there was all this backstory, I felt sad for who Akaza was before and what he went through when he was Hakuji and like a human, and that would have just been absolutely devastating. And he really just needed a hug, and he needed just someone to tell him that it's going to be okay. Stop doing what you're doing. Because he was strong. He became so strong in that dojo. He could have made such a big impact, but instead he was forced upon being a demon by Muzan. I had that conflict between like, I feel really sad for you, but I didn't feel like I didn't feel as emotional when he sacrificed himself in the end. It kind of felt like, yes, he kind of needed to do that for me, just to get like some kind of satisfaction for what he did to Rengoku at the time. And because that Rengoku has to be one of my favorite Hashiras. So the fact that he did that, it was kind of like it was a good ending, I think, to the whole situation. But it's even sadder because he had no memory or recollection of his past at all. He just felt the need to become more and more powerful. And so that's why it is sad, because when he did remember, that's when he sacrificed himself. So it's a difficult one. I'm just in a constant battle between my head, whether I feel like sorry for him or sacrificing himself, or I think I feel more sorry for him in his backstory and what he went through when he was younger, because it's super sad. That was like the perfect way to end off that movie, just Akaza sacrificing himself. And actually, thinking back on it, Tanjiro and Giyu didn't really defeat him themselves. Like, Tanjiro had some role in what he was saying and getting, Akaza to remember his past, and then, Giyu and Tanjiro fighting him led up to that point. But if Akaza hadn't sacrificed himself, Giyu and Tanjiro would be dead. They would actually be dead right now. So they didn't really defeat him in that sense, which is interesting. But yeah, Akaza, it really showed how strong he was. If he continued being a demon, he probably would have been, I don't know, he could have probably reached second. I haven't seen Doma fight yet, but wow. It was crazy to see his power level. And then ending it off with Inosuke kind of running through the rooms. He was funny throughout the thing, just like running everywhere, trying to find like the strongest demon and getting the crows, like yelling at them to like find him the strongest demon. One thing actually that really stood out to me throughout the movie was Ubuyashiki's children, how they were carrying on his will, and they were trying to locate Muzan so that they could take him down, so that like they were continuing on the legacy. And it is really interesting because when you think back to the Hashira training arc, when Ubuyashiki and Muzan were having that discussion, and they had that discussion around immortality and how like, Muzan is literally immortal and demons are immortal. So he's like, that is what immortality is. But then there's the other side of the spectrum with, I guess, what Ubuyashiki was discussing, where immortality isn't just a person being immortal for the rest of their life. It's like Ubuyashiki has also remained immortal because his will continues on within his children and within the rest of the Hashira. So there's like the two sides of like immortality. And also like the fact that Muzan thought that he had planned out this whole thing, like everything was kind of going to his plan, but when in fact Urashiki accounted for all of this and it's kind of going to his plan this whole time. And Gyome kind of pointed that out, where it was like, this is his whole plan and he knew what was going to happen. So he was so smart that he's kind of outsmarting Muzan in this way. I mean, I'll see how the rest of the movies go, but yeah, that just really stood out to me throughout the whole movie. Anyways, I am just so freaking excited for these next movies. The last two movies, they're gonna just go off. They're gonna be crazy. And it's just so wild, and I love it that it is surpassing so many Hollywood movies at the box office at the moment with its like grossing revenue. And also on a $20 million budget, and it's now earned, I don't know, over 600 million. It is wild, and it goes to show that what these Hollywood producers are coming out with these days are just, they're trash, and people are looking for better movies, they're looking for better stories, and it's really just a testament to that. So they have just done an incredible job of this movie, and I just hope that the momentum keeps going and that the next couple of movies are just even better. Well, those are all my thoughts on the movie. Well, probably not all my thoughts. I feel like there's so much more that I am not talking about right now. But if they come to me, I'll make another video. Please let me know some of your thoughts down below in the comments, and some of your favorite scenes. I would love to hear it because, yeah, it's just an incredible movie. So, yeah, please let me know your thoughts down below. Otherwise, I hope that you all have an amazing day, night, whatever it is over there, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.